Friends, welcome back. This is Silver Slayer, so now let's talk silver. Folks, huge news. I'm going to be doing one of, if not the biggest, silver and gold giveaway the YouTube community has ever seen. 1 ounce gold coins given away. Talking about lots of silver, thousands of dollars worth. And yes, it will put a dent into my silver stack, but you guys are worth it. We are almost at 100,000 subscribers, and this is the only way I can say thank you. You guys have saved my life, literally, and put me in a position that I'm so grateful for. So make sure you click subscribe and wait for the entry video in the next couple of days to be coming out. And if you wanted to buy some of that shiny stuff, I recommend Miles Franklin. Just send an email to info@milesfranklin.com. Let them know Silver Slayer sent you. They will hook you up. They will make sure you're good. And if anything happened, email me, and I will put you in direct contact with Andy, and he will fix it. So there's a safety net there. Regardless, let's jump into this article. And we have another article, actually, I wanted to jump over as well, talking about the gold to silver ratio at 84-1. So this is going to be a pretty deep video because we're talking about how silver is getting crushed by the US dollar wrecking ball, where if you look at the 1 month chart, it pretty much has collapsed, but I wouldn't say it's catastrophic. I'm not saying that silver is over. It's game over. This is just a correction that I think we all should be taking advantage of. At least I am. So anyways, the silver market has fallen rather significantly during trading on Wednesday as the 200 daily EMA was broken through. So here's a little price forecast video. I'm not going to play it. You guys can watch those on your own. But here's the market technical analysis. This is important, especially this bottom part of this article. So listen up. Silver has gotten crushed during early trading on Wednesday. And it's not just Wednesday, through the week. And that's because the dollar is strengthening. There's a direct correlation or a negative correlation. When the dollar index is high, gold and silver is low, vice versa. So that's putting downward pressure on the market. By breaking through the 200 daily EMA, the futures market dumped, causing mayhem. At this point, it looks like the 61% Fibonacci level may be getting tested, but I think given enough time, we have a situation where the market may find some support. That being said, if we give up the 61% Fibonacci level, it's likely that we continue to see downward pressure threatening the $22 level. Anything below $22 opens up floodgates for selling pressure, almost certainly sending it down to 20. So they're saying if it goes down past 22, people are going to freak out and start panic selling. And right now it's sitting at $22.49. So we could see $19 silver. That is a possibility. But I'm not saying that even matters. In the long term, even if it does go down to $19, that just means we lowered our dollar per ounce average because it will go back up. Even when silver was $11 in March of 2020, I was buying silver like I never have before, telling people to. It's $11. Nobody wanted to touch silver with a 20-foot pole, which is ironic because if silver was $30, they would be buying boatloads of it. People need that confirmation, that validation, but you shouldn't if you understand silver's true value and the dollar's true value. So keep in mind that the US dollar index quite often has a negative correlation to the silver market, like I was just saying. So we need to pay close attention to what's going on over there. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it always works out that way. Just that those two do tend to move in opposite directions over the longer term. As there is in the US dollar strength, that will continue to hurt silver in general. But do you think the dollar will last forever? Do you think that the $31 trillion of debt that we're in is going to somehow poof vanish? Do you think there's going to be a reset? What about the BRICS nations? What about the upcoming? I mean, there's so many events, even the 2024 election, I could go into that all is going to be pushing things in certain ways. So that's why when you see a price forecast type video, you can take it with a grain of salt. All I can say at the end of the day is buy silver, hold on to it, and remember that is what is wealth. That's money. It's not a get rich quick scheme. This isn't, oh, I'm going to buy silver at $22, hope it skyrockets to $500 next year and cash out. If that's your game plan, then you are going to be sadly mistaken. This is something totally different. There's several different ways to stack. People stack for several different reasons, but this isn't just a hedge against inflation. This isn't just an investment. This is just taking fake money and putting it into real money. So, goes on to say, I expect to see a lot of volatility in the silver market over the next couple of days, but I do think we get some clarity soon. Be cautious with position sizing because silver can be an absolute monster. And yes, that's why they call it the devil's metal. That's why they call it the riskier version of gold. Since silver is such a small market, much smaller than gold, it's easier to manipulate. Why do you think these banks, J.P. Morgan, manipulates silver market? It's so much easier to manipulate, which means that it's like gold on steroids. Higher highs and lower lows. If gold's going to rise 10%, silver's going to rise 15%. But vice versa. On the downside, if gold's going to drop 10%, silver's going to drop 15%. So you got to be careful. There's bigger gaps, but more risk, more reward. At this point, there's no real reason to think that the market won't have to make its decision. And once it does, it should be rather massive. Now, here's the next article. This is an interesting one. I wanted to save this for last. Hopefully, you guys are still sticking around. I'm sure most people clicked off the video by now, thinking that they know everything. So if you're still here, pat yourself on the back. You wanted to soak up every single piece of information, and that is important. I can guarantee you, the person who's still watching this video trying to gain all this information, will be more successful than the person that's already clicked off this video. I can guarantee that. So silver price analysis as the gold to silver ratio drifts to 84. 84 ounces of silver to equal 1 ounce of gold. That is insane. Silver's dropped by more than 13% from its highest point this year. Analysts at Goldman Sachs downgraded China's economic recovery. The Federal Reserve decided to leave interest rates intact. So silver price has come under intense pressure in the past few weeks as investors react to the weak China growth data. Now remember, China is the biggest consumer of silver. They use the most silver. So the metal dropped to a low of $23.06, which is lower than the year-to-date high of $26.10. At the same time, the gold to silver ratios drifted upwards to 84. Now, when the ratio is going upwards, that means that gold is outperforming silver. When the ratio is going downwards, that means that silver is outperforming gold. Remember when I said that I was buying silver for $11 in March of 2020? That was around the time the gold to silver ratio was 125 to 1. Gold breaking through record highs, the highest prices we've seen gold in the 4,000 years that it's been priced, that it's been valued, broke past $2,000, where silver wasn't even half of that. As I've said before, though, I think that silver will take on a life of its own regardless of what gold's doing, regardless of stock market volatility, regardless of the dollar index. Silver's going to do what it does because it has separate uses than all of those things. Even comparing it to gold, the gold to silver ratio doesn't even really matter when you look at the use case. Silver has 100x times more uses than gold does. So why is gold 84 times more valuable? You got to remember, at the end of the day, the true value, the true nature of this will come out, especially when you look at the COMEX, like in my last video I kind of broke down. When you look at the COMEX, when you look at the shortage, or if you look at the supply deficit, which was record breaking last year, and then moving forwards technologically, we're in for a very serious scenario, and that's not even including what's happening with Russia and everything. So just imagine what we have coming up with the 2024 election, the war in Ukraine, the Russian civil war going on within itself now. There's a lot of different things that is going to not only affect silver's price, but the economy. And the economy is what is going to be pushing silver's price up or down. Remember, the dollar strength is only as strong as people think it is. So if people think the dollar isn't strong, then it literally isn't strong. And remember the correlation I said, if the dollar's low, gold and silver's high. So if we know that the dollar is going to inevitably collapse, what does that tell us? That gold and silver will inevitably rise. The bank's analysts believe that the economy will expand by 5.4% this year. It seems like policymakers in the country also expect that the economy will have a slower recovery than expected. On Tuesday, the People's Bank of China decided to cut interest rates by about 15 basis points. There are other signs that the economy is faltering. For example, the price of Brent crude oil has plunged by about 10% this year. Copper, which is widely seen as a barometer of the Chinese economy, has fallen over 12% from its highest level this year. Meanwhile, data shows that the housing sector is yet to recover. Home prices in about 70 cities dropped in May, according to studies by Goldman Sachs. Housing starts are only 40% of their 2020 levels. So silver prices react to the Chinese economy because the country is the biggest consumer in the world. Like I said earlier, China consumes the most. They don't produce the most. Mexico and Peru produce the most. China is up there. It's like Mexico, Peru, Chile, China, Australia. Those countries produce the most, those top five. But Mexico and Peru alone produce nearly 50% of it. So that is where most silver is coming from, but China is the one that is using it. The next important catalyst for silver prices is the upcoming statement by Jerome Powell, Federal Chairman Jerome Powell. That is where everyone starts to get antsy, starts to assume, starts to throw out this FUD, which is fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and the markets go crazy. They go crazy, and then even afterwards, when they say the numbers, what they expect or our goal is or we hope for, that's not even reassuring itself, because most times those numbers aren't even what really happens. So it's all going off speculation. It's all speculative. So he will testify in Congress, where he will talk about the state of the American economy and the bank's decisions to leave rates unchanged. Silver reacts to the actions of the Fed because it is widely seen as a precious metal. Turning into the daily chart, we see that the price of silver has retreated in the past few weeks. And I actually want to pull up, this is the 1 month chart. But let's look at like the 3 month chart. Yeah, see, we saw silver up to $26.15, something along those lines, and it almost broke past that again. So there's a lot of resistance at $26, meaning that if silver, or when silver does break above 26 again, if it breaks above that resistance level, it will skyrocket, probably $30+ within a few days. But we also have the support level, which I think is this $22 level. Like they were saying earlier, if it breaks below $22, we might be talking about $19, maybe $18 silver. I think personally the days of $18, $19 silver are over. I think there's enough people that are aware, especially with the banking crisis now, that know that silver is money and that this is not just some tinfoil hat wearing person that thinks that that thinks the government is spying on us through drones in our backyard. People understand now more mainstream that silver is something to be taken seriously, and not just gold. I'm talking about silver. Usually when we look at this, it's usually like, this is how I compare it. Gold is the mascot. Gold is what gets people interested into precious metals, and then they hear about this more affordable, more opportunistic metal, which is silver. So that's usually how people get into it. Let me know if that's what happened to you as well. So, turning into the daily chart, we see the price of silver has retreated in the past few weeks. It moved from the year-to-date high of $26.12 to currently $22.90. Silver has also crossed the important support level at $24.56, which is the highest level in December, January, and February. It has formed a break in a retest pattern, and that's usually a bearish sign. Silver remains slightly below the 25-day and 50-day moving averages, while the relative strength index, or the RSI, has tilted downwards. Therefore, there is a likelihood that will continue dropping. The bearish case will be confirmed if the price drops below the support at $22.71. And since this article came out, it has dropped below that $22.71. So we will see if it will keep going downwards, and if it does, That just means that silver is on sale, right? Silver's on sale, discount, take advantage of it. If we start seeing people panic selling and silver starts, falling even faster, that's when you see where the true stackers are versus the ones that just hopped on the silver train because their friend did, but did no research on why silver is valuable. That's when you see where the people are celebrating because we understand that it's going to go back up, but those that are going to second guess themselves or on the fence or sell at a loss, those are the ones that I'm scared of. That's who worries me. And that's when prices are getting lower. I'm making videos letting people know this is a correction. It's actually correct. It's healthy for a correction to happen. This is something that is supposed to happen. You never want something to just go up, 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 because then it's going to go down, 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 down. Just like Bitcoin in 2016 to 2017. It went up so fast that when it did stop, it took years and years to recover. If it would have gradually went up, it would have probably still be sitting up there. But that's not the case, and we don't want that with silver either, right? I want to buy silver as cheap as possible for as long as possible. I don't want silver to hit $50 tomorrow because that means I have to pay double of what I am now. Well, I mean, with premiums nowadays, some of these coins are $50. That's a whole nother video though. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna wrap this video up here. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you go subscribe. Just click that one button and you will have a chance to win a lot of silver and gold, thousands of dollars worth. I know it sounds insane. I've actually done this before. I've given away tubes of eagles. I haven't ever gave away an entire ounce of gold, so that's going to be pretty cool to do. But I have given away lots of tubes of eagles, and some pretty expensive slabbed coins, stuff that I think people. I like giving people stuff they never had before. Like if I give away someone, let's say I have a PF70 Panda, right? Something that's perfect condition. It's proof, and someone's never seen a proof coin or they don't have any. That's pretty cool. Or if someone only collects coins if they get a 10-ounce bar, how cool that is to feel. Because if you haven't experienced or if you haven't physically seen what a kilo bar feels like, it is insane. It's so small, but it's so heavy. Or even junk silver, constitutional silver, for example, or porch silver. And that's one of the coolest things about silver is there's so many different types of it, and there's so many options. So anyways, yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you wanted to buy silver, I recommend Miles Franklin. Send an email to info@milesfranklin.com, one of the most respected companies, precious metals dealers in the United States. They will hook you up. They're one of the only authorized dealers with the U.S. Mint, since the U.S. Mint currently banned everyone from buying directly from them. You have to go third party now, except them. Andy is still in touch with the U.S. Mint, still purchases directly from them. Nobody else can do that, but that's because he has the credibility. That's the company that filled the $50 million order last year. He filled that $50 million order. Nobody else could pull that off. It was Andy that pulled it off in 2 days because nobody else has the credentials. That nobody else has that type of power, and that's why he's blowing up as well. And he should be back on my channel for our weekly silver stacking podcast. So stay tuned. Click subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.